Hello and welcome to the best mods of Oblivion Remastered, where we'll be trying to cover the very best mods that are dropped daily. At least that's the aim. I know I'm walking into a sacred modding community, so please let me know if a mod drops that should be covered ASAP, as there are so many mods being dropped for this game. Feel free to provide any feedback you want as I'm new. The first few videos will be covering the most popular mods so far, and then move into the daily dropped mods. I do this for coverage and completeness, and for those that are new to Oblivion, please understand the mods always are more basic at the start of a game release. Oblivion will be slightly different in this scenario. However, over time, the mods will become much more advanced. There'll be tons of videos coming out on this, so if you do get any value out of these videos, please consider liking, subscribing, dropping a comment. Will really go a long way. Appreciate your time. Let's go. Unreal Engine Tweak is a performance optimization mod, which modifies the Unreal Engine ini file to reduce stuttering, improve performance, lower input latency, and enhance visual clarity by removing the film grain and chromatic aberrations, all without sacrificing visual quality. The mod targets CPU, GPU, and RAM, as well as SSD optimization, making this ideal for players seeking a smoother experience in Oblivion Remastered's updated engine, at least the graphics side of it. You should experience some reduced stuttering and improved frame rates, anywhere from 15 to 20 FPS, even more potentially. For the higher end systems, it might not be as noticeable. Bit of a mixture of comments on this saying it has helped, it has not, but in my experience, been able to gain some extra FPS, have a bit of a smoother experience. The mod is designed as a standalone and won't really work with any other optimization mods that's changing the engine ini, seeking to eliminate stutter and improve performance, especially for the mid to low range PCs. Carry weight modifier is a utility mod that increases the carry weight by assigning a negative weight value to lockpicks. So you can say goodbye to the encumbrance woes. Depending on where you sit with this might be perfect for you. It is kind of considered a cheat mod, and this is more of an unusual way of doing it. So the default download option for this is there are quite a few. You get minus 150 weight per lockpick. So the more lockpicks you have, the more you can carry. You can change this to a much more minor value, which balances it out more practically. However, you will require lockpicks for this mod to work. It is worth noting there are potential chance this mod could conflict with mods that modify lockpicks or lockpick retextures or other incumbents, mods or systems, so just be aware of that. So just something to note, but a great mod for players who want to prioritize convenience, especially for those explorers and thieves, allowing you to collect tons of loot or have it more balanced out just so you can loot a little bit extra more depending on your lockpicks. We're going to be covering two mods together as they both kind of do the same thing. So we have two achievement unlockers, the Universal Achievement Unblocker, and we have the Baka Achievement Enabler. So both of these mods are going to allow you to use console commands without achievements being disabled. Now the main difference between these two is that the Baka is Steam only, while the Universal supports Steam and Game Pass. However, the Baka checks game version compatibility, potentially improving its update resilience, but the Universal uses pattern scans for similar future proofing. My recommendation is to go the Baka Achievement Enabler for Steam users, or for Game Pass users, you'll have to opt in for the Universal Achievement Unblocker. Now, both of these mods should enable achievements while using console commands. It should also remove the no achievement flag from existing saves. However, it won't reactively unlock missed achievements. But there are the two best options for maintaining achievements while using console commands. Two amazing options. Better HUD is a user interface enhancement mod that refines the default HUD by making the compass smaller, say 60% of the vanilla size depending on which version you get, moving it closer to the top and repositioning the health, magic, and stamina bars vertically in the bottom left hand corner while scaling down the status icon. It's available in multiple variants, which also includes a slim version, but it's a cool mod that caters to various aspect ratios and preferences. But this is a pretty good mod to go to cover a lot of the different sizes for a new, cleaner looking HUD. But a highly recommended mod for players seeking a cleaner, less intrusive interface, especially those who value immersion and unobstructed view, could be perfect just for you. Unleveled Item Reward is a gameplay enhancement mod that removes level scaling from quest reward items across the base game and DLCs, ensuring players always receive the highest tier version of these rewards, regardless of their level. This addresses a widely criticized aspect of Oblivion leveling system, where low-level players received weaker rewards. So no matter your level, the quest reward will give you the best version. So there is a direct predecessor for this mod as well from the original Oblivion, so some of you may be familiar with it. So the mod should cover all the items like weapons, armor, and crafted gear, retroactive scaling to apply to already obtained items, compatible with mods that don't modify quest-related level list, but will potentially conflict with other mods altering the same list. For example, loot overhauls, but ensures the quests feel rewarding and consistent across all levels. Difficulty Slider Fix is an essential mod that smooths out the game's erratic difficulty setting, replacing the wild swings in damage multipliers with balanced, granular options. Choose between two different versions, 50 or 100, 50 gentler scaling, and preferred by the majority. It fine-tunes the damage taken and dealt, ensuring a fair fight. And you can see in this example, with this mod off, you are going to die a lot quicker because you'll be taking so much more damage, and you'll also be dealing out way less damage. And this is on the master mode, so this is the most punishing setting, just to really highlight the example. However, if you have this mod on and you're playing on master, it becomes much more balanced. It is worth noting the difference of this mod on and off is completely different. If you're an absolute god of the game, you probably won't like this mod. However, for the vast majority, this is a huge quality of life mod, balancing out the dramatic differences between the scaling of the difficulties. And just as an example, I'll just throw up what the vanilla game does, this mod's 50% version and the 100% version, just so you can see clear visual and numerical observation of what this mod does. It's simply just changing the damage and the damage taken, making it much more balanced. But by doing so, really makes playing on the higher difficulties much more enjoyable for all us big noobs out there. Only kidding. For the vast majority of us. But a very popular mod, definitely worth checking out if you like playing on the higher difficulties but don't enjoy being in a glass house and throwing around toothpicks. Over time, there's probably going to be a few different variations or settings to sort of fine-tune it to the way you like, but the difficulty slider fixed is great for players seeking a more balanced combat experience, especially those who find the vanilla difficulty setting too extreme while playing on extreme. The 50% version suits casuals, while the 100 version will offer more of a difficult challenge while maintaining a more balanced approach. This might not be for everyone, but this is a decent way to balancing out what some might call weird scaling of the game's difficulty. Oblivion Optimizer is a performance-enhancing mod that aims to increase the game's Unreal Engine 5 performance by improving shader compilation, asset streaming, CPU, GPU resource management, and reducing unnecessary background processes, aiming to reduce stuttering and enhance frame rate. Available in two different versions, the default version and the version 2. And version 2 is just more for players who still had persistent stuttering even after checking out the default, so that may help a bit more if you've noticed no difference. However, the mod targets modern hardware without compromising visual quality. It should help smooth out the gameplay and help with some of the FPS drops. So the main features is the shader handling. It preloads and caches shaders to reduce compilation stuttering, especially in new areas or with new effects. The asset streaming aims to enhance textures and model loading with asynchronous background processing, minimizing hiccups. The GPU and CPU management will enable multi-threading, rendering and parallel processing for better core utilization and GPU responsiveness. The background process reduction disables the unnecessary debug log and processes to free system resources. Now, based on the comments, there's a bit of a mixed bag of results. Some saying it's very good, some saying it made things worse. And that tends to be the case with most of these performance optimization mods. It can be very hit and miss depending on your system. It could be worth trying, but make sure you go through the comments in case there's any similarities there. But it could be perfect, helping to reduce stuttering and smoothing out performance. Here we have our first reshade. We have Ayleid Reshade, visual enhancement, using a custom preset designed to enhance the game's visuals by balancing out the vibrant colors and lighting of the original Elder Scrolls with Unreal 5's capabilities. Optimized for HDR monitors, the preset adjusts color tones, lighting, and contrast to create more immersive and a more visually striking world. It's important to understand though, a lot of reshades can be very dependent on the monitor and your settings, but it's always cool to try these to see if you like it and then tweaking further to adjust it to your needs. But overall, a very nice looking reshade. Could be perfect for you, but we'll cover a fair few more of them as we go along, and one of these might be the most preferred for your monitor and setup. But a nice way to get more visuals out of your experience using reshade and some of these awesome presets. Richer Vendors is a gameplay enhancement mod that will simply increase the gold held by vendors to a minimum of 1,000 or 10x their default amount, allowing players to sell high-value items without needing to go to multiple different vendors. You'll just be able to sell everything pretty much at most vendors. This is a fairly similar mod to some of the original, but a very simple change. Just giving all the vendors more gold, you'll be able to sell more. Optimization tweaks, OBLR. reduce stutter and improve performance, low latency, better frame time. Is another mod aimed at improving performance within Unreal Engine 5, slashing latency, stabilizing frame times, and boosting CPU, GPU efficiency, all while preserving the stunning visuals of the original engine's intention. The main features are centered around adjusting the Unreal Engine 5 variables for better CPU and GPU efficiency, streaming and memory management. The base version, there's a couple different versions, the base and advanced version. Base just has your standard optimization for broad compatibility. Your expert version adds a command to further reduce input latency, potentially causing FPS to drop on lower end systems. They aim to future-proof it for future game patches and includes VSync and FPS limit recommendations. There have been quite a few reports of significant improvements with this mod. For high-end systems, you'd see a 12 to 20 FPS boost. For mid-range systems report reduced stuttering, but not a lot of FPS gain. This is going to be very dependent on everyone's machine, and some on the low range have experienced FPS drops. So it is a bit of a mixed bag again, but as mentioned, that's always kind of the case. These are always just worth trying to see if it works for you and improves your system performance. But this might be the more preferred version for high-end PCs seeking to reduce the stutter and improve responsiveness. Better Reticle, simple UI enhancement, modifies the default Reticle and Snake Eye to be less intrusive, replacing the bow and staff reticle with a dot, and offers 3 variations: a standard, which has a small reticle or no reticle, removes all reticles across all the different weapons, and a transparent version, 40%, 80%, to give you a lot of customization options. Worth noting, it uses a pack file to modify the reticle textures, compatible with mods not altering HUD tables, but most likely incompatible with other reticle/HUD mods. Could be a nice quality of life change.